said 3 decades, 4 decades. After flying for 43 years and getting closer to my retirement age, I got this job. No authority will want an airline shut down because we are here to regulate to make sure that you are safe to fly and you continue flying safe. What is going on right now that you don't know is the product is not even available. So airlines are finding it difficult to get the product.
Yes.
Because
they're importing it.
Yes. So because of that, there's a lot of delays, cancellation of flights, and it's affecting the traveling public. I can tell you, the thing started from 194 per liter naira to 300 to 400. The last meeting we had was 600. Now it's gone up to 700. If a flight is delayed for 2 hours, they need to give them refreshment. If the flight is delayed for more than 2 or 3 hours, you need to refund. If you bought the tickets cash, they'll refund you cash. If you bought the ticket online, it takes a certain amount of days for you to get a refund. In fact, Nigeria is the gateway of the African nation as I speak. I can tell you this without looking back. No pilot will fly an aircraft that is not safe. Passengers can go to the NCAA desk and lay any complaints and it will be taken. We also have a portal whereby, of course, we're trying to create a web whereby a portal you can now lay in your complaints and you get immediate answers. When I was flying in Okada, you will see tires that are torn, have 2 threads, 3 threads. Now it's not happening because anything, the regulation is tight on everybody. Making sure everybody goes for simulator as at when due. Making sure that you observe the regulation as per your license and as per your duty times. All that is in place. And of course, we thank God for his mercies. He doesn't want any aeroplane having any incident or accident. In fact, he's very concerned. He called me 2 days ago, said, Captain, this airline, I want to know their financial health. I want to know if they're paying salaries. I want to know this. I want to know, give me this report. That is when you know who an astute leader is.
Well, it's another very lovely, wonderful time on Africa TV. I'm so very overwhelmed because the personality we're bringing to you today is a very, very dynamic man, a man of impeccable achievements, a man who has contributed his quota to the body of aviation business in Nigeria. And recently, he was elevated to the position of the Director, Air Transport Regulation at the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority in Nigeria. He's a man who has spent 3 decades plus in the aviation business, from a pilot to a director at different aviation investments and businesses. He's a businessman, he's an entrepreneur, but right now, he's now a regulator. And I want to thank his aides, his assistant, for making it happen for us to meet him today, Friday, 27th of May. It has not been easy getting access to him. And I want to thank Captain Chris Ona Najomo, the Director, Air Transport Regulation, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. Captain, I want to thank you, sir. God bless you for this time. And we've started to beg you for the interview because of things that cropped up in the industry recently, especially as regard the new developments in terms of the price hike. It has been so very, very now sitting, and a lot of people are talking about it. You know, the price just jacked up from the basic prices we were paying before to almost tripled and all that. So we said we have to come to your office since you appear to be someone that we knew for the past 2 decades, and we said, let's ask you. But first and foremost, how are you reacting to this issue of price hike? And what do you think it means for air travelers in Nigeria, people who like to travel in the last 50 years?
Thank you, Benga, and thank you for having me today.
God bless you.
Yes, you've tried to speak with me. First of all, you know, when you've known me for so many years, you know, when I was working in the private sector, it's a different ball game. I'm now in the civil service, I'm now in civil servant. So before I make such interviews, I must make sure that I get permission to do that. And of course,
thank you so much, sir.
I'm here. Yes, obviously, I got elevated to this position some few months back, January 8th to be precise, this year, as Director in charge of Air Transport Regulation. I thank the Honorable Minister for giving me the opportunity, and Mr. President, to serve. Yes, after flying for 43 years, you said 3 decades, 4 decades. After flying for 43 years and getting closer to my retirement age, I got this job. I've been in the industry, yes, for this more amount, but now I'm in the civil service. It's a different ball game. I've come and I'm seeing what is going on. Back to the question.
Yes, sir.
It's indeed a trying time for Nigerian travelers. It's indeed a trying time for the public, and of course for us regulators, for what is going on, the fuel hike that just came. And we as regulators, we have been called severally by the National Assembly to come and defend what is happening. And we've had several meetings with both the airline operator of Nigeria. We've been also called to National Assembly. And we know that our main here is to make sure that safety is maintained.
Yeah.
And the airlines are, of course, going through a lot of pains right now as the fuel hike. They've sat down together with the marketers. A couple of meetings have been held, whether the prices can, the fuel marketers can come down with the price, which is still ongoing as we speak. So the fuel hike came up. If our authority here, especially my DG, has made sure that it's making sure that the airlines do not cut corners. That's one thing, because right now, if you are not able to pay your bills, that means you're not financially able. That's where the authority will come in and say, look, you cannot continue being in operation.
Yeah.
But again, the authority is also here to see if they can help by making sure that they come in the intermediary to tell the marketers, come to a truce whereby these airlines are able to get these products at a reasonable amount so that they can stay afloat. No authority will want an airline shut down because we are here to regulate to make sure that you are safe to fly and you continue flying safe. Because one thing is paramount, if the airlines are not making it, they start cutting corners. If the tickets have been raised and passengers are not coming, the airlines will start cutting corners, and that's where we go. The airlines, there's a few deregulation of air ticket fares, but where we come in here is if the fares are charged very low, that's why we'll come in as a regulator to say you cannot charge this low, because once you start charging low, that means you're going to start cutting corners. So it's been chaotic, and we've had several meetings, both with the House of Rep and both with the National Assembly. They've called us. In fact, as I speak with you, we've had like about 5 to 6 different meetings every time going to the National Assembly to defend this or talk about this and that. They are still come to a truce to see whereby the product, well, another thing is, what is going on right now that you don't know is the product is not even available. So airlines the airlines are finding it difficult to get the product.
Yes.
Because
they're importing it.
Yes. So because of that, there's a lot of delays, cancellation of flights, and it's affecting the traveling public. We sympathize with the traveling public, but you know right now, flying is not a luxury right now, it's a necessity. To travel from point A to point B, you must fly because of obvious reasons on the roads and all that. So the aviation industry is going through a turmoil right now, and I hope that we'll get to the root of it.
So a lot of people want us to ask you that, how do you think the airline operators can get themselves out of this economic, what can I call it, hula baloo? I mean, especially as related to the most essential commodity, which is Jet A1, which is said to be costly, and a lot of people are saying maybe because of the subsidy and all that, the pain is too excruciating on the traveling public. I mean, when you are paying one way, I just came back from Abuja and I paid almost 140,000 for go, come and all that, and you look at the cost, that's what everybody says. So how do you think they can marshal? What do you think your agency and maybe the government can do to cushion the effects of the fuel price hike?
Well, the authority has really can only advise, but where the buck lies is with the oil marketers, in conjunction with the group managing director of NNPC and the marketers, where they can now come to a truce to say, okay, we can subsidize on this to make sure the fuel that gets, the end product that gets to the airline is reduced. Because I can tell you, the thing started from 194 per liter naira to 300 to 400. The last meeting we had was 600. Now it's gone up to 700 per liter. And that's why the airlines have increased fare. Before, if a fare from Lagos to Abuja was 25, 30K.
Yes, sir.
Now it's 70, 80K. And the airlines are still saying it is still not enough. By the time they calculate, they said it will come up to maybe 100,000 for a 45 minutes flight. It is time that the federal government comes to help, the marketers, stroke all the people concerned, so that they can come to a truce. I heard the other time the airline operator says they are going to import their own fuel, but it's a process. It's a long process. It's a long process of importing their own fuel and all that one. There are so many things that it's not just importing fuel. You have to go through so much procedures to be able to import fuel. And so we as regulators, we are just here informing or advising when they call us that they should come to a truce whereby they can reduce for the end product to reach. Now, the end product is not flowing as normal. It's for obvious reasons. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they are hoarding, the marketers are hoarding the fuel, maybe not. But what we are saying is that all the airlines are delaying flights, canceling flights, and repositioning flights, and it's not really good for the flying public. So we advise, our own is to regulate, and regulation is our own to make sure that everything is done safely.
Yes, I want to ask you that your position is very sensitive as the director of air transport regulation. I mean, when I look at the office, when I heard about the office, and I said I want to ask that, what does that office entail, sir? With total honor, sir.
Okay, we are here, as it says, air transport regulation.
Yes, sir.
We are here. I have 4 departments in my directorate. We have the Department of Air Transport Operations. We have the Economic that's the ERF facilitation. We have the Consumer Protection Unit, and we have the CIS, that's the Commercial and Statistics. You know, all these 4 directorates, all these 4 departments, what we do here is we make sure, in fact, the director of the ATR is the money-making machine of the directorate, that's the NCAA. We make sure we collect all the fees that are meant to be paid to NCAA. That's the TSC, the CSC, the 5% sales tax. We make sure all the airlines pay it. And once we gather all the evidences, that's where our commercial and statistics comes in. We gather it and the finance comes to pick it up, you know?
Yes, sir.
We also issue our transport operations. We also issue our licenses here. We issue licenses. Any airline who wants to start up must come through us for the ATOL, for the ATL, for the PNCF. Most especially, what is important is the PNCF. That's the permit for non-commercial flights. You see all these private jets that are flying all over.
I saw that in Abuja.
They are all under the PNCF permits. So you must get that.
That's permit for non-commercial flights.
So for you to operate such, you will get that, and you go through a process here. There's a checklist. You go through the whole process, and once that process is done under me, we will now send it up to the DG for his final signature, making sure that all the checklist is done. So once you get this license, you can now operate the private jets. But they are for non-commercial flights.
Non-commercial?
So, yeah, for non-commercial flights. You don't use it for charters. You just use it for private operations. So the directorate is quite large. Consumer protection is units. We have what we call the consumer protection department. Yes, it has to do with customers and their rights. You know, the travelers. You know, we have that unit that makes sure.
But that's a sensitive one, because a lot of travelers always have things they want to tell you. You see on the internet, they are sharing delayment and all that things that airlines does to them.
Absolutely. So we have that department here. It's called the CPD, and they are in all our terminals, arrival and departure. You'll see a desk there, NCA desk. There are our officers who are there to capture anything that is happening with all the airlines. I get reports every departure, every arrival, every delays. I get everything on my phone. So if there's any query from any passenger, our officers are there to address it. If there's any, they should know their rights. If a flight is delayed for 2 hours, they need to give them refreshment. If the flight is delayed for more than 2 or 3 hours, you need to refund. If you bought the tickets cash, they'll refund you cash. If you bought the ticket online, it takes a certain amount of days for you to get a refund. If you cancel a flight at night at a certain time, you must that airline must send them to a hotel where you must give them hotel accommodation. So all these ones are under the consumer protection unit. We have officers all over the federation, both in arrival and departure. So I'm just using this as a medium to tell passengers can go to the NCA desk and lay any complaints, and it will be taken. We also have a portal whereby, of course, we're trying to create a web whereby a portal you can now lay in your complaint and you get immediate answers.
But people want to also ask you that question about the portal, because most cases, most times when people are embarrassed at the airport, maybe the flight cancelled their schedule, and they are always looking for where to relate their.
There's a portal, and let me show you this. Okay. It says here, there's a book here that says Know Your Rights and Responsibilities. This is under CPD, and everything is here, Know Your Rights and Responsibility. We have all this in all our desk in the arrival and in departure.
Under the consumer protection directive?
Yes, everything is there. It will tell you, everything is in there to know your rights. You can see it.
But how can people get a copy?
If you go to the desk. Okay. In fact, there are flyers. I can show you another flyer. This is another flyer.
For instance, I would like to have a copy of it.
You will get a copy after this, you know. I can show you that one day we did an awareness campaign last month. You see, this is an awareness campaign. We had all our people, all our consumer, all our staffers going to all the airports. They were going to all the airports to talk to passengers and telling them all giving them all the airports across the federation
orientation about their rights.
Yeah, this is about their rights, talking to all the airports across the station. I told them to do this, and they've just done this, and you can see that this is all the across Ilorin, Benin. We had a day. It's called Awareness Day, and they did it, talking to passengers, giving them their rights, asking them if they are satisfied with the airline, and they're making reports, and all these ones were all sent to me. So this is CPD.
It's fantastic. This is unique.
Yeah.
In fact, I never knew something like this occurred, you know, because a lot of people say that, oh, is it FAN we're going to report to, or is it NAMA?
No.
Is it, you know, so there's confusion because there's this, the different organizations still under the same strategic aviation industry. So
FAN has their own, have their own office to complain, but what we do in NCA here, it's under CPD. You know your rights, and we make sure we go further to give them their rights. We make sure that you cannot keep a passenger for 2 hours without refreshments. If you're delayed, was your flight delayed today?
No, sir.
Okay, so fine. Yeah. If your flight is delayed for 2 hours or more, they start giving you refreshments. You must serve refreshments.
A lot of people don't know this. They start lamenting at the airport, they start crying.
Yeah. So if your flight is cancelled, and you must get a refund. If it is cash, you get a refund.
A lot of people don't know this too, sir.
So this is the reason why we said know your rights. You can know all your responsibilities, know your rights in all the airports. Just go to NCA, say you're looking for the CPD desk, and they will give you all the rights and everything.
So we're still coming back to the NCA before we round up, but I want to call your attention to the fact that this year, 2022, and one of the reasons we're looking for you and begging your aides to let us meet you, sir, that we discovered that it is exactly 100 years that the first aeroplane landed in Nigeria in the Kano airport that eventually became an international airport. That's Aminu Kano International Airport. And I want to ask you that what is the significance of that landmark, that aviation landmark in sub-Saharan Africa? And today is 100 years, this January.
Thank you very much. You can see what has happened within the last 100 years. You can see the first aircraft that landed in Kano, and now what has it impacted into the aviation industry in Nigeria? A lot, because we have improved tremendously. We are, in fact, Nigeria is the gateway of the African nation as I speak. You can see how many airlines fly into Nigeria, foreign airlines. You can see that everybody is seeking to come to Nigeria. You can see how many airlines we had some 10, 20 years ago. I'm coming from the old school. I used to be in Okada Air. I know that when I was in Okada several years ago, we can count how many airlines. But today, you can count there are several airlines. We have gone from old school to new generation aeroplanes. And right now, the airspace is very busy. Before it wasn't. And that is why the regulators are here. We as regulators are here to make sure everything is done according to the regulations and according to the books so that everybody is safe. You can see that maybe several years back there have been some incidents or accidents, but have you noticed any lately?
I'm shocked. Lately.
No, because the regulators have been on the beats under our leadership of Captain Musa Nuhu, who is an astute professional like me, and he's not taking anything for granted. He's making sure that we must make sure we know our beats and cover every aspect safely. So it has brought a lot, 100 years to now, it has brought a lot of economic upbringing for the country. You know, aviation, the economy is listed to aviation is linked to,
it's a star sector.
Absolutely. So we have come a long way from 100 years to now. We have new innovation, new airplane. We've gone to where people buy old airplane to where people buy brand new aircrafts now. The days of Arik Air, where the Arik started by buying brand new tear-rubber airplanes. Now Air Peace is doing it. Now other airlines are doing it. So it's a great kudos for us. The aviation industry is booming so well in Nigeria, and we still cannot service the whole routes. There are so many routes that who will say Lagos to Ibadan will be profitable. But today, there are planes going Lagos to Ibadan.
I'm surprised.
So overland is flying Lagos to Ibadan.
Yes, it's surprised.
Before Akure Airport was no. Four airlines are flying to Akure. Warri Airport is very busy. Four airlines are flying to Warri. So so the whole airspace and the whole country is being utilized. There were few airports before, now there are a lot of airports now. Both federal government built airport and privately state-owned built airports. Every state governor wants to build an airport.
Yes.
That is just an indication that everywhere is opening up.
In fact, we have Bayelsa airports that was really opened under Governor Seriake Dixon.
Absolutely.
We have Ibom airport that was opened up under the Minister of...
Absolutely. Then we have the Anambra airports.
I'm surprised, Anambra airport. Yeah.
So several airports are coming up in the north, and several airports. So we give God the glory that the 100 years has not been in vain, that it has brought further improvement and further development to the aviation industry.
I want to go back to the issue of private jet owners. I want to ask you this critical question that if, for instance, I have a private jet now, how do I go about it? Licensing is through NCAA or any of viewers? Maybe there are investors abroad in UK, in America, that want to come to Nigeria and say, okay, I want to have my own private jet. Okay. So how do they go about getting the license, the necessary documents to fly it here and to park it here?
Yes, first of all, you will go through the ministerial approval of importing the aircraft into the country. The minister must approve, the ministry must approve your approval of bringing the aircraft. But before then, you'll apply for the license. It's called the PNCF, the permit for non-commercial permit. So this permit will only allow you to use it privately.
Privately, sir?
Yes, for people who is buying a jet and wants to put it under their license. There's a checklist that must be followed through our air transport operations. You will come there, they'll give you a checklist, and you must make sure that they follow that checklist. Checklist includes but not directors of the company. You must go through security clearance. You must have paid your taxes, and they must give you all the forms to produce. Once you go through it, you must have, then you go through the airworthiness aspect. Airworthiness must make sure that they go. Airworthiness.
We used to talk about roadworthiness for cars.
So airworthiness will make sure they go and inspect the aircraft and make sure that they have their own checklist that must be followed. And then the operations and license, the adults must make sure that the licenses for the pilots are followed. So, you don't just bring an aircraft. You go through a lot of procedures. The airworthiness will let us know that they don't have any problems. The adults will let us know that they don't have any problems before it comes to our own integrity, before we now issue the license. Once we issue the license, you get the license, you have your permits to fly, to bring the aircraft in. You bring the aircraft in because all these conditions must be met. And once it meets, you come here, you put the aircraft under your PNCF and you can operate.
You can operate there. Then what does NCAA do to private flyers, like a personality that has a private jet and he's the one that is flying, does not have a pilot? Like we used to have a senator Nala in those days who used to fly.
He's still there.
He's still there.
He's still flying himself.
Okay.
He has his aeroplane.
Yeah, he has his own aeroplane. I think it's part of.
In fact, he's the deputy chairman of the aviation committee in the House of Rep.
Can you imagine? Yeah. So how does the organization handle those kind of people who are not professional commercial flyers? I mean, they're private people, they can fly and they have their jet. Is there any regulation that you have to go through to be able to be in that position to fly your own jet yourself?
Well, yes.
I'm talking because of diaspora. And a lot of people have private jets in New York, in America.
You must have gone through getting the license, fine. You must get a commercial pilot license, which he has. He has a commercial pilot, and finally, he even has an ATPL license. So you must have a license to be able to fly the type of airplane you're flying. So he has that license, and he has the type rating of the airplane he flies. And he's jolly go fair. He still flies up till today. He flies his aeroplane, making sure that his license is current, his medical is current. This is where we do our own job. And once DOTS says that, because it's under the Director of Licensing and Training, that makes sure that you have all your licenses, you can fly. For the big private jet owners, I have not seen any big private jet owner that is flying himself. He has pilots who fly themselves. So it's only Nala that flies himself his own aeroplane. But the big jet flyers, they have pilots. And you must follow all those regulations. You must have met all those regulations. You must have done your medicals. You must have passed your medicals. You must have passed your simulator. You come here and the license is ready, you can fly.
I want to ask you another question. I noticed that in the last, and I want to give kudos to the President, Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, and the Minister, Captain Idris Sirika. I've noticed that there's no plane crash in the last 7 years plus now, going and nose boring into your regime, nose diving into your own regime. How have you been able to do it in NCAA that the air space is safe and most of the aircraft are just very, very conscientious with the rules and regulations? How have you been able to achieve that?
Because they have been following it in total. They have been following it. They have done their duties very well. They've done ramp checks. When I mean ramp checks, you see inspectors coming to the ramp to make sure they ramp an aircraft. When I mean a ramp check, I'll give you a scenario. When you see NCAA vehicle come over to the ramp, you want to board, you see 3 officials. You know that they have come to ramp check you. That means they'll come to the aircraft. Whether you want to board, they'll tell you to wait. They'll check all the documentation. They'll call for the pilot's license, the cabin crew's license. They'll check for the technical log. They'll check the aircraft in total, in and out, tires, everywhere. And once they're satisfied, they clear it. They've ramp checked you. This procedure takes between 15 and 20 minutes. Sometimes when they come, if the aircraft has started boarding, they'll go. But if the aircraft just comes from a place, they wait for the passengers to come down and they start their ramp check because they know they can achieve it. So a lot of that has been done. A lot of that is ongoing. And a lot of scrutiny is being done by DORS. DORS is Director of Airworthiness, making sure that your aircraft is fit. Your aircraft has met all the requirements for it to fly. Tires, I can tell you, when I was flying in Okada, you will see tires that are torn, have 2 threads, 3 threads. Now it's not happening because anything, the regulation is tight on everybody. Making sure everybody goes for simulator as at when due. Making sure that you observe the regulation as per your license and as per your duty times. All that is in place. And of course, we thank God for his mercies. We put everything to God that no crashes have happened, and we intend to continue and uphold safety in the directorate.
I want to ask you, with your sensitive position and the sensitivity of the NCAA, which is a very fantastic, dynamic organization, can you say there's still room for more investors to come into the aviation business, considering the economic hitches, especially as related to the fuel price hike? Do you think the industry is healthy for more investors? Well,
I can say that yes, because the regulations or the regulator, as we are regulators, will still have to do our job. The industry is still healthy, and the industry is still very large for more people to come. It's a tough one. I have been on that side, now I'm on this side. So I know how tough it is. You know, I was MD at one time of Capital Airlines, and I know what, as an MD of an airline, what you go through. I give my kudos to the MDs of all the airlines right now, because I know what they are going through. I've been there before. So, but you know, they shouldn't give up, because it's a multi-billion-dollar investment that have been in there. And that's why you see that the airlines coming today, they want to shut down. But you see, when they look at the investment so much, they come together and say, we cannot shut down. But we'll just plead to federal government to see if the marketers can come to a truce to bring down the fuel, this thing. If they bring down the fuel cost, maybe it will not bring down the fuel, the fare tickets. But if they don't, and you know how in Nigeria, if they don't, they might run out of, you know, some of them might close down, you know, and that is what we are very sensitive here. So any person wanting to come and venture into it knows right now is the best time to do it, because of the situation in the country as per the roads and how, you know, so the air travel is no more a necessity. It's no more a luxury, but it's a necessity. So this is the right time to come in if anybody wants to invest, to come in.
I want to ask you a question before we round up. What is the state? How can you define an aeroplane that is in good condition? What are the qualities that we expect of such an Airbus or a plane that is in good condition? Because I fly every time, and I've been flying you for many years. At least in the last 20 years of my journalism career, I've flown when Captain Najomo is at the seats. I flew you both in Albarka, flew you in Arik, and some other places. So please, what does it take for an aeroplane to be in good condition and to be fit for transportation business?
Let me tell you, I can tell you this without looking back. No pilot will fly an aircraft that is not safe. No pilots. As I speak, no pilots. Because the sensitivity, and right now everything is going high tech. Everything is now no pilot. And what we're doing now is that because every check must be done, the engineer who signs out the aircraft has done his check. The pilot who comes, goes to do his work around, has done his check. If there's anything wrong right there, it will show. So once the engineer has said, I have signed it out, he has done his check. But even then, because he has signed it out, the pilot has to do his check. And once the pilot does his check, does his work around, does everything in the cockpit, and sees that the aircraft is good to go, it's good to go. Because the aircraft is being signed by the engineer, and the captain in command has signed it, good to go. We have had situations whereby what we call an air return or a ramp return. I will tell you what a ramp return is.
What's that, sir?
Maybe an aircraft starts an engine with its passengers and is taxiing for takeoff, and a light comes on. And that light, there are in the book where if a light comes on, there's a book in the section that says it's a no-go item. If that light is a no-go item, he turns back. If the light is, it will go off, he will take off. But once a light that's a no-go item comes on, it means you cannot go. That's what the guy turns back to the ramp. Gentlemen, call the engineer, we've had this light. So they start working on it. Air return, this aircraft must have taken off and going, and that light comes on. It's what we call land as soon as possible.
Land as soon as possible.
That means you have to come back. You come back. So everybody is following it judiciously. Nobody is taking chances. We took a lot of chances 20, 30 years ago. Nobody's taking chances now. Everybody's, the awareness has come. Any single thing. So you can be rest assured that if a pilot is doing a ramp return, it's a serious thing. Don't blame anybody. If a pilot is doing an air return, it's a serious thing.
It's a life and death thing.
It's a serious thing. So everybody is conscious. And that's why, and let me tell you something, where the NCAA is now. Once there's a ramp return and air return, if the aircraft lands, the air traffic controller will say, what's the reason for your return? He said, I have this. It's okay, fine. He will note it down. Before the aircraft takes off, NCAA, they have called NCAA. We, the regulator, we have gone to the scene. Make sure that it is done, safe, and done before the release. Sometimes NCAA is the one that grounds the airplane. This airplane cannot go until this is done. We have engineers, we have pilots in the NCAA that are very knowledgeable, that are all experienced, that will tell you they've had so much experience. So you cannot cajole, when an NCAA inspector comes to your aircraft, you cannot cajole that inspector because it's a bundle of experience he has.
I love this discipline. I'm very, very proud about this. Are there any grade of aircraft that NCAA has, fashioned out in Nigeria, like in the days of back 111 and some other? Is there any procedural process for, certifying the kind of brand of aircraft that could fly in this country? Do you have
No. What we do here is there's no brand of aircraft that you must say this must fly, this must not fly. You bring an aeroplane as far as it meets the standards, as far as it meets all the requirements, as far as it meets every on the checklist, because an inspector will come with a checklist. Yes, this. It's a 747, it's a 737, it's an Airbus, or any other type of aircraft. As far as it meets all the requirements, it's good to go. The pilots must have been trained and experienced. So it's good to go. They just mark all those ones down here. An engineer who is doing all that one must have been trained on the aircraft. You understand? Let me give you an example. Okay. I fly the Airbus. Or I flew the Airbus.
Yes, sir.
And I'm in NCAA now, So NCAA can use me now if an Airbus is in the air. There's an Airbus now. There's an Airbus 340 belonging to Asman. NCAA can use me to go and do an inspection. because I flew the Airbus.
That's
So they can use me.
Quality experience.
They can use me. I can go in there now and tell them yes, this, because I have so much hours on that Airbus, and so that's the advantage of me being in NCAA too.
Before I round up, I want to ask you this very simple question, and I want to appeal to you to ask. You are on the other side before now. I mean, you're almost going to 60, going to 65. You're going to retire. You are now on this side. What is different? The other side and here, what are the? Is there any difference, and what did you notice? I mean, when you are there the other time, you are criticizing this side, but now you are here. So what did you discover?
When I was on there, I never criticized the side because I'm an astute professional, and I knew when they were here, they were doing their job. So if you're an astute professional, you know what you're doing, and you know that the guys here are doing their job, you won't criticize them because they're doing their job. However, was it done properly? How is it done? How did they carry it? Is what I will look into. And now it's different. It's a different ball game. I'm here. So as I'm here with our DG, who is knowledgeable, who's been professional too, who knows that we have to do it right. His own is that we have to do it right. And that is what he's trying to do, to get it done right. The way forward is doing it right, do the regulation, and make sure that we're safe. He doesn't want any aeroplane having any incident or accident. In fact, he's very concerned. He called me 2 days ago, said, Captain, this airline, I want to know their financial health. I want to know if they're paying salaries. I want to know this. I want to know, give me this report. That is when you know who an astute leader is. Immediately we went into work, and we've given him, shown him the report that, yes, this is the report of this is the report of this. So going further is for making sure that everything is done properly and safely, and no aeroplane. We don't want to hear any aeroplane falling in the skies or anything,
In fact, your last statement makes me so happy, because most of the time when in recent I shot it between your last place, Arik and Ibom, but I've been doing Ibom Air more of recent because of their fantastic way. But when I'm there, I used to look at other aircraft and I say, oh, this one, does it look healthy? There's this mutual fear. And when you fly, you feel it from the plane. So when you say your boss is always saying, please do this, I can see the passion in him, and I can see the greatness in him. Any man that can think like that is a great leader. But I want you to define, who is Captain Nuhu, the DG NCAA? Who is he, and how has he been able to achieve all the success story we hear about him even before you joined, sir?
Captain Musa Nuhu is my DG, gentleman and an officer. In fact, we were classmates. We went to Federal Government College, Kano, together. And when we sit down in our meetings, I know his own goal is, let us do it together. Let us do it as one. He doesn't want any person to say, this is not my own doing, I won't do it. He wants everybody.
All inclusive.
All inclusive. And so far so good, since he assumed duty, the authority is happy with his stride, the way he's taking it, a lot of bubble, a lot of joy has come into this place. I just joined 4 months ago, and I'm seeing his handwork. He's been here by 2 years plus, but I've seen what he wants for this place. We had a meeting with the staffers, both in Lagos and Abuja, and I can see his compassion with staff. He has a lot of compassion with staff, and he wants all the staff. When he told them that he's happy that NCA staffers are the most motivated. Not motivated. He said the most disciplined staff.
That's good.
That's what he used. The most disciplined staff in the whole aviation industry. So and he's proud of them, and of course they're also proud of him. So we will give him all the cooperation that he needs, and because he's also giving us the cooperation we need. So that's about Captain Usanu,
I want to round up now. I want to ask you, you flew Ecomong, you flew in the war environment, you flew in the civil environment, you flew all your life. So how does all this knowledge, 43 years knowledge, is now helping you in your new seat as the Director of Air Transport Regulation at the NCAA?
Yeah. Of course, one thing relates to the other. Because I've flown for 43 years, flown to different countries, flown different airplanes. I flew the 737, Back 111, Caravelle, 727, the Airbus. I've flown all those aircrafts. And on the other side, I operated, when I was MD Capital, I had an HS-125 that was doing charters for me. So I've been on the other side, and that is why it's helping me work on this side. You know, even though that I'm sitting here as a director now, I'm trying to learn a lot because it's a civil service setup. So I'm trying to learn a lot from all the officers I've met. I have some fantastic GMs here. My 4 GMs I will always call them. Even the DG has told me, Chris, you're new here, you know, you got to just, to catch up. So I'm doing a lot of catch up here, and I'm liking it so far, so good. But I can pray. But what I want is I wish that things go a bit faster than as it is, because a lot of protocols must be maintained. You know, when you bring your file, it goes through this process, that process, that process. What can be done in 7 days or 6 days, I want to see if we can bring it down to 2 days. So that is why I'm here. To me, I met my staffers. I have an open door policy. They like that aspect, that they can just come into my office, talk to me, and we'll get it done. When I come and see my officer, I say, how long will it take you to do this? They said 4 days. I said, no, I went done in 2 days. That's me. So that's how we are, and I hope for better improvement in the sector. I want to use this opportunity to thank my Honorable Minister, Senator Hadi Sirika, for giving me this opportunity to serve, and I can assure you I will not disappoint you and disappoint Nigerians. We've never had a good minister that we have now. Senator Hadi Sirika is one minister with a difference. I'm sure because he's a pilot. I mean, he went to flying school, graduated, got his licenses and got that. He knows the rigorous. He has done a lot for this industry. I tell you, a lot. A lot has been achieved under Hadi Sirika, a lot. And I can assure you that we just wish we can continue having him as minister.
I want to ask you a question that it appears that we are now having the rank pearls in the round hole.
Absolutely.
Hadi Sirika, because I'm feeling it. This is not a joking matter. I'm feeling Captain Hadi Sirika's influence in the aviation industry. And when President Buhari appointed him the second time, during the second term in office, I was appreciative. I was very grateful to God, because I've been flying and I have not seen plane crash. There's no history of plane crash. Absolutely. The last one we had was maybe 2012.
Absolutely.
So will you say that we are not having ramp peg in Rahul, because Chris Najomo is here now as the Director of Transport Regulation. He's a guy who has flown almost all the aircraft around the world, and Captain Hadi Sirika is also a pilot. And so
is our DG too. Captain Musa, who is a pilot too, an astute pilot who has flown for so many years, even flown in the presidency, worked in the ICAO, before he came here. So he's a bunch of knowledgeable person, that will want to do it right. So we're in the same team together. Our director of who is in charge of DOTS, he too is Captain Bahago Elisha. He is also a bunch of an astute professional who stands by profession. Our director of airworthiness, Engineer Jiboye, he's been here for so long that he is an astute, very person engineer. So you can imagine, NCAA is gifted with a lot of people. We have our director of aerodrome and airspace, that's as Engineer Odunowo, who is doing fantastic well. Then to Capital, we have a legal advisor, Barrister Chukuma, and we have an amiable director of finance, Hajia Sanusi, and we have a director of human resources, Alhaji Wakili. You see, under all this,
a compendium of intellectual house of power.
You have a good Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to add, is there a school, study aviation school for Nigerian Civil Authority?
There's a school the minister wants to start. There's an aerospace and a school that the minister wants to start that is ongoing. So we'll get to that. Thank you.
Well, it has been a very wonderful, lovely time. We would have loved to do more, but it's going for another meeting. It's going for another schedule. He's a very busy man. A busy, fantastic man. He has been an instructor, he has been a pilot, he has been a director of aviation, he has been an MD of an aviation company. But today now, God has put him here in the civil service to give us more of his innovative ideas and knowledge. You are watching this video. In terms of aviation business, Chris Ona Najomo is an epitome of that industry, and I want you to share the video. I appreciate the fact that we have the best of the brain in Nigeria, in West Africa, and across the world.
Yeah.
And the next time we will be meeting him, I want to appeal that please continue to share the truth, and God bless you. Happy New Year. Goodbye.
you.